and welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. I'm Sunanda Jayaseelan. On the show tonight, we're talking all things fashion and clothing. My first conversation is with Shree, Renga Polymers and EcoLine clothing. Our second conversation tonight with FS Life as we're doing a deep dive into the entire space of women's workwear. Senthil Sankar of Shree Renga Polymers and EcoLine clothing joining us here on the show. You are, of course, famously known for the Modi jacket, but I'm going to come to that in just a moment, Senthil, and ask you to really kick off the conversation by helping the layman and our viewers really understand the whole concept of sustainable clothing. It's quite fascinating and very interesting. I understand that recycled PET bottles converted to yarn, then converted into fabric, and then converted into the beautiful creations that we see. Take us through really that journey.
Yeah, sure. So this is our raw material, right? PET bottles, they are getting collected from Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra, and Pondicherry. So these 5 places it gets collected, and it doesn't come in this form. Once this water is consumed, you basically throw it. And the rack picker picks it up and gets it to our supplier, who will aggregate it and then make it into bales. So they basically compress it, so it becomes flat. It's not like this, it becomes flat, and it's called a bale, and that bale comes to us as an input raw material. Of course, it's not so clean as this. It is dirty because it comes from road waste, it comes from water bodies, it's picked up from all sorts of places. So that's the input to us, and once we get it, we do a sorting process. By sorting, what we mean is the caps cannot be made into polyester, and the wrappers obviously are of a different material. So these caps have to be removed, and these wrappers have to be removed. Caps go to make battery cases, so we sell them out, and these wrappers are taken by cement factories. Now, this clear plastic is what can become polyester. So this is what is separated out in our process, and we do a 10-stage recycling, which is from crushing to washing to drying. So when the crushing happens, it is made into flakes, which is between 3 mm to 12 mm, and it is recycled. Why it is recycled is because it comes dirty, it has to be cleaned. So the cleaned flakes is called hot wash PET flakes, and this flakes goes on to be manufactured to recycled polyester. And this fiber goes into the textile value chain as a raw material. So the fiber then becomes yarn. So what I am wearing is a jacket which is made from PET bottles. This is made from PET bottles. So what you can see is this being made into this.
Since we're talking sustainability, I must ask you, traditional wear, whether Indian or otherwise, typically requires more water when it comes to production than most other kind of fabrics. That's our understanding. And since we're talking sustainability, then how do you really tackle that issue? And keeping your eye on sustainability, what can you tell us?
What is unique about our process is we use a technology called dope dye technology. In dope dyeing, we don't use even a single drop of water. So my jacket here, the color is steel gray, and this coloring happens in the making of the fiber. So that is imparted using a product called master batch, the recipe of which we do in-house. So each of our fibers, when it comes out colored, and it comes out colored in the matrix of the fiber, which means there is no requirement of doing any dyeing or processing. This is the greenest way to color any textile fiber. That's the technology we employ, and which means we actually are very proud to say that we don't use water at all for our dyeing process. The water that we use is for our washing process, because these bottles come dirty. the dirt has to be removed. So the washing is where the water is used. Even that water is again fed back into the system. We don't let it out. We are a zero liquid discharge company. And what we do, interesting, is we don't allow the waste that comes along, right? The dirt and all comes along with it. That dirt is separated in our effluent treatment plant, and we make paver blocks out of it. In fact, we've even branded it as flush brick. And the paver blocks that you see in our factory is all the mud that has come in, in the raw material. And now we started to sell this also as a product. So nothing is wasted in our factory. Every raw material is made into some value-added product.
You're based in the South, and the reason I bring that up is because the South is also known, particularly parts of the South, Tamil Nadu, Coimbatore, Tirupur, etc., known for their textile manufacturing prowess. And my question is, do you think that the South can also become known for recycled fabrics in this okay movement into sustainability?
Yes, I think now that we've taken the gauntlet and we've taken the charge, we're ahead of everyone. I am pretty sure there are a lot of other people who are thinking the same way. As a recycling industry, it's mostly present in the north and the west of India. South has very little presence as of now, but I'm very sure that that's going to change. I would like to, appreciate the government's move of setting up Mitra Parks, because if you look at the textile value chain, the raw material to the finished product does a lot of crisscrossing, right? Raw material grows in Gujarat, Maharashtra, gets spun into yarn in Coimbatore and Tamil Nadu, comes back to Maharashtra for being woven into a fabric and all this. So there's a lot of crisscrossing that happens, which means logistics cost is high. And that's why we are not able to be competitive with our, the other competing nations, like let's say Bangladesh or, Cambodia, Vietnam. We are not competitive with them because of all this crisscrossing. So with Mitra Parks all in one place and, closer to the port makes us a lot more efficient in terms of cost and in terms of product. So I think with that approach, we should see a lot of textiles being manufactured in South. And also, be more cost effective and price effective. And my sincere estimate is, 2.2 trillion is the world fashion market. And I think in another 5 to 10 years, 15% of it is going to be sustainable. So it's definitely a bright future. Now that, people like us have started to come up, I think South will definitely, have its presence with respect to sustainable textiles.
Sustainability as a concept matters not just to manufacturers such as yourself, but also to the people who are actually going to be wearing these clothes. And my question really is, are people really interested perhaps in the material that they're wearing, what has gone to the making of that material, that entire journey and that process? Is that something that you feel customers are more and more wanting to understand, because that becomes crucial for the sustainability and the recycled movement?
To be honest, the initial few years of our brand had some difficulties with respect to convincing the consumer. The well-read consumer is always interested to wear these products, but the fast fashion category, the youngsters and all that, they have not yet understood this concept as much. But again, I would like to thank the Honorable Prime Minister for his wonderful gesture of wearing our jacket in the Parliament and giving out a statement. And he didn't just wear it once, he wore it thrice. And that message going out to the public has given some amount of interest for people in India to actually look at sustainability and especially fashion, sustainable fashion. The challenge that we have is, how are we going to make this as per the consumer's taste? Like I said earlier, we do good when we buy this garment, right? Another thing that we do is a portion of our sales goes to the welfare of all the rack pickers. So EcoLine, in a nutshell, aspires to make our products look good, feel good, and do good. So when we do that, I think it's a no-brainer, right? If I hadn't told you that this jacket was made from PET bottles, you wouldn't actually know, correct? So that's the point that we want to send across. So the moment they see the tag, they know it's made from PET bottles, but when they wear it, they feel happy. They also know that, it's just like any other garment.
All right, I'm going to end today's conversation by asking you if you had any advice for our small business entrepreneurs, what it would be, what do you want to leave us with?
Sustainable fashion is not only recycled polyester. You have alpaca wool, you have viscose, which has got an eco label to it. You have organic cotton, and all the textile raw materials, right, can be sustainable in its own way. And also the process can be sustainable. You could think about sustainability in raw material, think about sustainability in practice.
I'm going to take a quick break. On the other side, someone very well known to us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, Ayushi Gudwani of FS Life, joining us in just a moment. Welcome back. You're with us here on IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow, Season 11. Ayushi, good seeing you again. The last time we met, it was in person, of course, and we were talking about all things related to fashion, but we're amongst a group of students in Delhi, but it's good connecting again. Just for the sake of our viewers who will be interested in understanding how you got started in this journey of fashion, what would you like to tell us?
That's an interesting question. Back in 2015, I would barely find clothing for my size, and I also wanted to dress trendy. I wanted to feel good, and therefore I wanted to, I ended up launching a clothing line which will ensure that it is body inclusive and it makes all real women feel beautiful and confident about themselves. So that's where the idea began. Of course, because I come from, McKinsey and my pedigree, I wanted the business to be huge, and in apparel, there is massive opportunity, not just within India, but globally. So therefore, personal commitment and a problem area, as well as a strong business opportunity, made me jump into this area.
I understand there are a lot of new brands which you are curating and launching. Give us a little sense of that, and also, the aspirations or the visions really for those brands.
So we've decided to add 2 new brands to our portfolio. We started with Fable Street first. Over the years of 7 years of a journey, Fable Street has expanded from just being workwear to western wear and has amassed a lot of newer consumers. As an organization, we are much more stronger than one brand. We are a supply chain tech company, and we are therefore capable of offering more brands. So a natural push for us was to increase the share of wallet from the existing customers by adding newer brands to our portfolio. We have therefore added 2 new brands for our portfolio. First is Pinkfort. It is a modern Indian wear brand which addresses and brings in modern clothing for Indian women. And another one is March, which is actually a fine silver jewelry brand, which again allows you to add accessories to your everyday life.
I would love to understand, for a brand which is so young, you've seen some massive growth. And what's really helped you see that kind of growth? What's helped drive the business the way it has?
We did very well last year. We have been in the phase of growth extensively over the past 2 years. The primary factors which contributed to the growth were threefold. Number one was that we actually increased awareness and increased our reach and distribution massively by being on marketplaces and other channels. and also expanding our avenues through our own D2C platform. Second was we increased the categories we've been in. We added athleisure, we have added extensively focused on live-ins, and we've added party wear to a collection, so which allows us to penetrate a lot more with the existing customer. And finally, we of course did a massive brand campaign last year and brought on board Sonakshi Sinha, Srinidhi Shetty and Huma Qureshi as our brand ambassadors, which again drove a lot more revenues as well as reach and awareness for the brand.
You expanded into the jewelry business as well, Ayushi. Give us a little bit more understanding on that.
Jewelry is a very, very important category and has a potential of reaching upwards of 1,000 crores. We've focused on bringing in fine silver jewelry to India. There are not a lot of, branded silver jewelry in the country, and there has to be a new Tiffany's of India. So we genuinely believe that silver jewelry is one of the future potential in the space, as opposed to just being in the play of gold and diamond jewelry.
Fashion is forever changing, but if you can tell us some of the trends that we can watch out for when it comes to the clothing space, what's next, what's new? What can you tell us, Ayushi?
There are a lot of trends. I'll focus on top 2 or 3 which matter a lot. Number 1 is focus on sustainability is becoming increasingly important. It's going to take some time for this trend to settle in, but I would say that the focus on therefore environmental consciousness and conscious clothing will grow. Hopefully 2 to 3 years down the line, we will start seeing a lot more focus in the mass market play around this. I think that's one. Second is overall the differentiation between the formal clothing, the casual clothing, the clothing at home, all of that is actually wearing off. You're very comfortable transitioning your clothing from one place to another, and that's a trend that is likely to really follow and become an important trend for the future. So there's not going to be a lot of specific occasion or different types of clothing. It'll primarily be everyday clothing or morning to evening clothing across. So that's a second critical trend. The third is actually, I think, with so much of content consumption, social media, and also women becoming a lot more open and comfortable about themselves, the framing around clothing has become a lot more personalized and individualistic in nature. What it means is that everyone has a personality, and then they want to showcase their personality through what they wear. So gone are the days of conservative clothing. There's so much of bold clothing that has come in place. Everyone wants to dress differently, and that's going to stay, and it is across age groups, a lot more for the younger age group, but really true even for older age group as well.
The overarching theme that we have here on the 11th edition of the show is Ideas for New India. So just curious to understand from you, the ideas for New India when it comes to the fashion and the clothing space. Just call out a few of those for us.
Technical fabrics, high focus on comfort, which is increasingly important, going very, very bold on dressing, and probably a lot more personalized dressing are critical ideas for future. And I did talk about environmental friendliness and sustainability. So those are very, very big themes for the upcoming future.
Ayushi, I know you are doing multiple things. We keep seeing several announcements really coming out of your label and your brand, but anything new that you're working on that you can give us a sneak peek on?
We are doing a lot for each of the brands that we are focusing on. With Fable Street, we are entering into multiple categories further. We just launched denims. I'm wearing one of that, and it is going to become an important and integral part of the growth. We are again focusing on winter wear. Party wear has become increasingly important for us. We are consistently focusing on trying to be on trend at the same time, working across all body sizes and focusing on fit. So there's a lot expected. We expect to grow at least 2 to 3 times this year. The newer brands, of course, are in an early stage, so therefore they're going to go through a lot of transition and also a lot of newer launches.
So we love asking entrepreneurs like yourself who've seen the kind of traction that you have, any advice that you want to leave our businesses with?
I would say 2 things. One is that focus excessively on execution. The answers are simple. Finding opportunity is very easy. It is about how you execute it and ensure delivery that matters. And also focus on profitability. And then finally, I think one thing I always tell all entrepreneurs and something I always live back is that think big, start small, execute fast.
Curious to understand, Ayushi, as we're ending tonight's conversation, as a woman entrepreneur, what are the biggest challenges that you've perhaps seen and faced that you want to help our viewers understand and leave them with advice really based off your experiences?
Not a lot, actually, I would say. I think I faced all the challenges that any entrepreneur would face in their early years of starting the business. I usually, in my own head, all the time dealing the mindset of being an entrepreneur. I don't link my gender to my entrepreneurship journey, and as long as you don't have that in your head, I don't think you go through the challenges. It's something that we create in our own heads a lot of time.
All right, Ayushi. Good as always having you here on the show. Thanks for your time. Out of time on tonight's conversations. If you have any feedback for us, do let us know. Our details on your screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.